It's Friday, December 22nd. Let's talk PlayStation. Alright, first up on the docket, I suggest you check your email that is associated with your PSN ID because for some mysteriously strange reason, Sony is actually giving away codes to Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds, the recent expansion for Horizon. And that's totally the case right now. There's no rhyme or reason to it, apparently. Nobody knows why they're receiving it or how you receive this email. I would assume this is very low volume and not everybody's getting it, and you certainly shouldn't expect yourself to get this, but maybe there's a slight chance that you're actually getting this email from Sony. And yeah, I have no idea how widespread this is. I would assume it's not many people are going to be lucky enough to get this email. But they're really just straight up giving a code to the expansion for free, which is cool, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Now, keeping it moving with the Vita love, that's why I wanted to mention this news story. This past week it was announced from Atlus that Katherine is getting a remaster on PlayStation 4. Oh yeah, cool, you know, cool if you want to play it on PS4. And Vita. Yes, some more Vita love. I don't even care if it's a port. It's a port of a great game, and it's going to be on PlayStation Vita. Especially, you know, games like that. You know, I always think of how great certain games would be in the handheld form factor, and that's, again, why I enjoy Switch so much. I think that's such a great platform, and I'm so happy Switch is doing well. Let's just also keep that in mind. The fact that Vita didn't become the platform we want it to be, at least Switch is doing very well. But either way, we do get some Vita love right here. So Katherine, full body, coming to PS4 and Vita. There's actually going to be a third girl added into the game, and they're going to be adding, you know, a few extra scenes and things like that. But kudos to Atlus for showing some more Vita love. You should also remember, too, that the Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing games are coming to PS4 and Vita also. So more stuff to look forward to if you're still riding the Vita train, which I sure as hell am. Now, if you have a PlayStation 3 and you have these PlayStation 3 games and you like playing them online, this is the news story for you. You might want to play them before March 29th, 2018, because a number of PlayStation 3 games are getting their online functionality turned off. The big ones, of course, Killzone 2, Killzone 3, these games are getting their online functionality turned off by then, which is a shame. Those are great games. I still stand by the Killzone games, especially the ones on the PlayStation 3. Those games were awesome. So if you do want to reminisce or enjoy your time on those games one last time before they go, be sure to do that. Some other casualties in this announcement was the Wipeout games for PS3. Those will also be shutting on the same date. And then also, actually, I probably should have mentioned this first because this is totally worse than Killzone, but the iPet games are getting their servers turned off. Oh, what a shame. I mean, iPet. Damn, that was a good game. I never played it. And I thought we'd mention this one because we are running a little dry on news stories this past week, but it was also revealed that the Uncharted series collectively as a whole has sold 41.7 million units worldwide, which is a lot of copies. I'm quite happy that Uncharted did as well as it did. I still remember back in 2007 when I bought Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and I thought it was like so good, and actually back then I didn't even have an HD TV in 2007, so I actually was playing it on a standard def TV, but the game still looked great. And I'm going through it, and I'm really enjoying it, and I thought, wow, this is, you know, such a, you know, different take for Naughty Dog. This is really different direction, but I just fell in love with it right away. So it's crazy to see how far it's come. Now I would also just like to add, please, Naughty Dog and Sony, give it a rest now. Like, 5 years minimum. I understand the game is, you know, it sells a lot of copies, and you're a business, you like making money, but you know, and I also think, too, Naughty Dog I think they are done with it, at least the short term, right? And that's what I'm kind of getting at, like a 5-year minimum. I don't think they would revisit it anytime soon in a super huge, meaningful capacity of like a full game. So, which is good. Give the series some rest. Segueing nicely into more Naughty Dog and our final news story. Neil Druckmann, of course, the creative director of The Last of Us Part 2, was in a podcast interview recently, sort of discussing, you know, The Last of Us 2 and how it's coming along, but more importantly, the fact that, you know, showing the recent footage of the game, the 2 cutscenes that we have, and more importantly, the recent cutscene from PSX, how it looks great and how it looks polished and it looks fantastic, but as a creator, he's looking at that and thinking, oh, we've got this great, you know, sliver of the game that's, you know, about 5 minutes and it looks great, but how do we make tens of more hours of gameplay that feel just as visceral, just as exciting, just as good looking, when knowingly him as the creative director, he knows that other parts of the game currently look like an absolute broken mess, implying that he's on the actual side of development. He can see all vertical slices of the game, and he knows that there are certain parts that don't look quite right, implying that because you have to show certain parts of the game to the public, and you know that specific scene is going to get shown to the public, like the one at PSX, you have to get that one ready for prime time. So if you know you're going to be showing that part of the game, you have to have the team focus all on that particular scene just to make it look fantastic. And it's like you probably still got a bunch of weird triangles running around a forest, and you know they don't look at all like the final game how it should be, right? I find stuff like that interesting. There's nothing I love more than a little bit of developer insight into the game development, and that's something you will hear quite frequently, is that when developers have to bring a certain piece of the game to the public, they have to really focus all their energy on that particular part of the game, and in a sense almost not necessarily ignore, but certainly take resources away from other portions of the game, just so you can get that part of the game ready to show to the public and make it look as good and awesome as it can possibly be, which is a good and bad thing. Oftentimes we do hear a lot of the bad stuff about it, because that is a big problem with when we do see games from the public's standpoint, because we always get these sections of games that we are looking forward to, and they look fantastic, but then the final game comes out and you think to yourself like, oh, where was that? Or hey, this scene isn't quite the same as it was when it was shown off, or this particular portion doesn't look just as pretty. And it's always a big controversy for the developer and publisher that falls under that spotlight, which and it's unfortunate, because a lot of the times the developer really doesn't want to be in that place. They really don't want to be in that particular situation, and I would have to imagine it's because of the difficulty of trying to timeline it up like that, kind of what Neil is saying, where you're making it look, this one scene look absolutely fantastic, but at the same time the rest of it doesn't look even remotely close to what it looks like. So I would have to imagine that it probably disrupts a bit of the workflow when you have to make something look like it's nearly finished, and then the rest of it is not even nearly, like, not even remotely close to being finished. You know what I mean? You always think to yourself like, oh, it's got to be a progressive thing. Like, oh, we'll start at this layer, then we'll add assets and textures and details and all this, nonsense. I'm not a game developer, but you would think it's a little bit of a progressionary thing. And then to sometimes hear that it's not necessarily like that because of instances of having to bring it to public or trade shows. Even when you're pitching a brand new game and you have to create a small vertical slice to show it to a major publisher to get the game greenlit. It's just another slight insight into the fact of how developers sometimes go nuts making these games and getting divorces and spending 80+ hour work weeks trying to make the games that we enjoy. Now, those were some of the news stories I want to talk about with you guys this week. Oh, all this Naughty Dog talk, it's making me think that I should play some Uncharted 4 multiplayer. Yeah, that video. I uploaded that recently. I told you, the damn thing is, I told you guys there's a lot of fun stuff I want to do relatively soon, and that was one that I finally mustered up some damn energy to do. You'll be seeing more stuff like that, definitely. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go watch that video. Like, what the hell, Oh my god, my aim sucks! Oh, lovely. We're only gonna get to see 2 maps in this entire... Ooh, lemur. I feel like everybody goes for that main place, Oh, shit! LTPS easily gets like, what, 4,000 or 5,000 views. We only got 1,000 on that sucker. Go watch that video. You know what I'm saying? Show me some love, people. Don't you love me? And if you don't, that's totally cool too, because I really don't expect anything from you people whatsoever. It's a goddamn miracle that you're even still here after how long of me making these videos, because some of you always say that you've been watching for quite a long time, and that's pretty awesome. Anyway, that concludes this week's episode of Let's Talk PlayStation. I'm Ryan Bedecky. Thank you all so much for talking with me, and I will see you guys next Friday.